not working. That's the kind of thinking that's going on in this country right now. Or it's not even thinking. They're not thinking. There is no thinking. It's insanity. And everybody just seems to be, well, I'm a slave and I just work my job and I just get my check and then I come home and, it's just that same old rat race. It's just that same cycle over and over and over. But don't tell me what's going on around me. I don't want to know. Don't tell me they're heating up the water. Don't tell me they're boiling the pot. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. And, it's the adage, the old adage, stick your head in the sand. That's what people are doing. The Jews did not know that the Germans were getting ready to take them to the gas chambers. They didn't know. And then when they finally found out that some of the Jews were being taken and hauled away, then they started getting fearful every time the German soldiers started coming near to their area. And they would be wondering, are they going to come to my house next? And they would all be afraid and scared. And that's the way they lived. They lived under that fear constantly. But before they first took anybody and hauled them off, they didn't know. They went in there silently. They went in there covertly. They went in there in stealth, and the people never saw it coming. And that's not what's happening in the United States, because we know what's happening and we're not doing anything. We have an advantage over what the Jews had at the time of the Holocaust. And I'll tell you right now, they're saying, oh, this Jade Helm thing is nothing. I'm telling you, they're surrounding us right now is what they're doing. This is a play. They're making a play right now. They are literally surrounding the citizens of the United States of America, and it'll be too late. Because what they're doing is they've got something planned that when let's just say when all hell breaks loose, that the military is already going to be ready to go. They're going to have the United Nations ready to go, and the people are going to be crying out, help us, we need your help. And there it is. There's their plan. Out of chaos is order. Order out of chaos. That's their plan. And the people are playing right into their hands. Folks, that's exactly what's going on in this country. I as a missionary going over to Haiti, I saw how the United Nations took over Haiti. It was amazing. I could not believe. They took the airport over. They took over everything. And I remember as we were sitting in line waiting to pick up the pastor's children at school, these United Nations vehicles came along, and everybody had to get out of their way. And here you got these soldiers sitting out on the sides of these trucks and with their drinks in their hands, as far as their sodas and their waters or whatever. But they're just going along, just kind of relaxing on the side of the truck. And you guys got to get out of our way. We're important. And people think, oh, well, the United Nations is a great thing. They come and they build up countries and they help. No, they don't. They come in and they're completely disrespectful. They come in and they start problems. I watched it myself. They literally start fights. They'll start a fight right in and they start stirring things up. And they do that with the civilians' clothes on, so they don't look like they don't look like the United Nations. But then they come in, they bring their control. And that's exactly what's going on in the United States right now. We've got probably CIA or some sort of inside police that go in, like with Baltimore, and they start fires and they try to stir up the people and get them rioting. And then they come in and they bring their police and they bring in their control. And that's exactly what it says right on the dollar bill, order out of chaos. That's how they're bringing about the New World Order, order out of chaos. So they got to have chaos first. They have to have disorder first in order to bring order. And so you may not have any problems at all. You may not have no problems whatsoever. And yet, all of a sudden, now you got problems. Why? Same thing with the Twin Towers. They attacked those Twin Towers the same way that Hitler burned his Reichstag. The same exact thing that Hitler did, they did. And just like Pearl Harbor. I mean, it was a Pearl Harbor attack. They are systematically destroying this country, folks. That's what they're doing. And I'm telling you, if we do not arrest Barack Obama if he is not arrested, he will, I'll tell you right now, he will, he'll be successful in what he's doing. He will be successful, and there will be a nuclear Iran. And listen, folks, we're headed towards World War III. We are headed towards World War III right now. And then we get these Christians that are lukewarm, and they say, oh, well, we know it's coming. We know it says it in the Bible, so we'll just kind of lay back and relax and wait for the rapture. We know it's coming, Brother Joseph. Don't tell us. Don't get so excited. Just because the Bible says this is the way it's going to happen, does that mean we just kind of kick back and watch it happen? No. It says it's going to happen because it's prophecy, because it says it's going to happen. But that doesn't mean you sit there and do nothing. When good men do nothing, when good people do nothing, evil prevails. That's what's happening right now in the United States of America. Evil is prevailing because nobody's doing anything. And that's the time we're living in, folks. It's a sad, sad hour. Sad hour. So how do we go about arresting Obama? How do we go about? Well, first of all, the military is the only ones that can do it. The military is going to have to arrest him. It will have to be the military that does it. But he's doing everything he can right now to remove anybody in the military that would arrest him. And they're not talking about it. You don't hear about it. And on the sides, you'll hear about it. You'll hear soldiers in the Marines. I just heard two young soldiers just recently and said they just came out. They're Marines, and they said Jade Helm is not a drill. They said we're not going along with the plan. They says, well, would you ever fire on U.S. citizens? They said no. They said we believe in the Constitution of the United States. Folks, listen, there are soldiers, and if they didn't have soldiers, you know what? The United Nations is not just U.S., it's international. And there's Russians, and there's all different countries in the one world United Nations military. So that's why they want to use the military of the United Nations, because there's people within the United Nations that are Russian, they're all different nationalities, that they'll not even think twice about firing upon a U.S. citizen. Because they're looking at a new world order, folks. A one world government. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's not a game. It's coming. And there seems like people just don't care. And, you say, well, Brother Joseph, what are you doing? Well, I'm sounding the alarm. Obviously, I can't go in there and arrest Obama. I'll tell you something. God gave me a vision, and I saw Obama. He was giving a press conference, and I was in the press conference. And, I'm in a vision, so that's the only way I could be in that room. But I was in that room with all the other reporters, and I asked Obama, or I said to Obama, he was saying something from the thing, and I just spoke up out loud, and I said, that's unconstitutional. And I looked up at Obama, and he just ignored me. He acted like he didn't even hear what I said. And then I spoke up a little louder. I said, that's unconstitutional. And he just ignored me. He ignored me. And that's the attitude of this president. That's the attitude of this imposter that's in the White House, in the highest seat of this country, in the most powerful seat of, really, in the most powerful seat of this world right now. As far as, well, I mean, we're soon losing that position. We're losing the superpower position. Right now, there's a power grab going on between Russia and China. Who's going to be the next superpower? Folks, listen, we know that Russia's going to eventually attack America. It's coming. We know that Russia, listen, the next thing to happen is Russia's going to attack Israel. That's the next thing that's not next, but I mean the next thing as far as Russia's concerned. That's the next thing, their next move. They're going to attack Israel. And then they'll attack the United States of America. The bear's not dead, people. The bear is only wounded. And have you ever seen a wounded bear? Putin is a wounded, he's wounded. His pride has been wounded. He doesn't like this idea with the United States putting sanctions on him. He wants to take care of business. He wants to take care of what he wants to do, and he doesn't want anybody stopping him to do what he wants to do. And I'm telling you right now, he may not be coming out altogether and saying he's angry, but he is. He is angry. Russia is a bear that's been wounded. Their pride has been wounded, and they are angry. And they're working together with China. They're in bed with China. And they're going to work together to try to, in some way, take over the world. Folks, eventually it's going to come down to where China and Russia is going to be duking it out. And we see in the scripture, when it's all said and done, all that's going to be left is Gog and Magog. That's the whole world, Gog and Magog. When it all comes down to it, that's what it's going to be. But I'll tell you, we are fast moving towards World War III. And it's in the doctrine, Albert Pike, we've already seen the 2 world wars. Now the third one's coming. He said there has to be 3 world wars. And it's just the way to bring about this new world order. And now we're looking at the what Albert Pike also said in this doctrine that they have, this solution or whatever, that there's got to be aliens. There's got to be a deception on aliens. There's going to be different things that they're going to start implementing now. That is part of the doctrine they're following. They're literally following right now an esoteric plan. That's what they're following. That's what the pyramid on your dollar bill, that's what, it's an occult. It's occultic. And it has to do with, it's like what George Bush Jr. said. He said an ancient hope that is meant to be fulfilled. See, their plan is that the United States becomes the United Nations. In other words, the United States takes over the world. That's their plan. But God's not going to let it happen. God's not going to let the United States become the dictator of the world. Going around and flexing your muscles and making other countries make them think you're bringing democracy, make them think you're bringing freedom to their country, and you're really going in there, you're going in there to strip them. You're going in there to steal from them, to rob from them, take their oil, take their gold, take everything from them, and then you leave them in worse condition than when you showed up. They're in worse condition. And that's what we did when we went over to the Middle East. We didn't go over and make things better. We made it worse. That whole region right now is more dangerous and more volatile than it's ever been. And now you got a problem with what's called ISIS. And you got more problems right now in the Middle East than there was before we dropped the bombs over there, before we started fighting over there, before we went over there, quote unquote, bringing relief. We didn't bring any relief to them. We killed their children. We went over there and bombed them. We went over there and killed little innocent children and wives. And that's what we did. We maimed their children and wives. And we said we went over there and helped them. And then